Hey guys, and welcome back. Today, what we're going to do, we're going to talk about something that sneaks into almost every marriage at some point or another, and it's called disrespectful judgments. Now, what they are is they're these little comments or looks or criticisms that can hurt your spouse, even when you don't mean to do it. But here's the good news: you can fix this and even use it to make your relationship stronger than ever before. So let's get going. And hey, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to keep you current on these teachings, okay? So, what are disrespectful judgments? Well, disrespectful judgments happen when you criticize or you belittle your spouse, and they usually happen out of frustration. Like, you could have a bad day or something and you bring it home, or let's say you could be at home working and stuff, and then you just had a bad day at home. And they can sound stuff like, well, why would you do something like that? That's just dumb, right? Or maybe it's when you roll your eyes when they come to you and share an idea. Come on now, you do it. But listen, we all do this stuff, okay? Why? It's because we're human. But when we let judgments like this become a habit, well, they can chip away at the foundation of our marriage. I mean, think about this, okay? Would you want to open up to somebody who constantly judges you? Of course not. I wouldn't, right? That's why these little moments can hurt your connection over time if you're not careful. So let me share with you the damage that it causes. And here's the thing: disrespectful judgments aren't just words and they're not just looks, okay? And they can actually damage your marriage in about three big ways that I can think of. First of all, they kill emotional intimacy. You see, when you judge your spouse, your spouse is going to feel judged, and what's going to happen is they're going to pull away emotionally. It's like putting up a wall between you two. Then, second, they can create a cycle of negativity if you're not careful. If you criticize your spouse, they might respond by shutting down, getting defensive, or guess what? Even judging you back. And then what happens? It just spirals on from there. And third, they'll build up a resentment, right? What will happen is over time, those little moments of judgment, what they do is they pile up. And before you know it, there's this big gap between you both. You see, here's the thing I know: these things just don't go away. You might think they do, but they don't. But here's the good news: you don't have to stay stuck in this pattern. So, very quickly, let me give you three keys to fixing disrespectful judgments. Okay. Here's key number one: you have to get curious about yourself. By that, I mean, before you judge your spouse, I want you to take a step back and I want to ask yourself this kind of question: why am I feeling this way? Why am I frustrated? Am I tired? Am I overwhelmed? What's happening? For example, instead of saying, you know what, you're so lazy, you don't even help with the dishes, why don't you stop and think, am I feeling this way because of all the stuff I've been doing by myself today? You see, when you understand your emotions, you can express them without attacking your spouse. And that right there, let me tell you, that's a game changer. Key number two is to seek and not to judge. You see, try to replace judgment with curiosity. Instead of assuming the worst, ask your spouse to explain their perspective, right? Let's say your spouse spends money on something that you didn't expect for them to spend money on. Instead of saying, why would you spend your money on something like that? You could say something like, hey, can you walk me through the thought process? Because I really want to understand what made you do the thing that you did. You see, because when you do that, it shows your spouse that you care about their perspective, even if you don't agree with them, okay? But what it does, it makes them feel respected instead of being attacked. And then key number three is to speak kindly, even when you're upset. And then finally, when something bothers you, say it in a way that builds your spouse up instead of tearing them down. You've all heard this thing. Use I statements to share your feelings without blame, okay, without blaming the other person. Instead of saying, you never listened to me, why don't you try this instead? Say, you know what? I feel unheard when I try to share something with you sometimes, and it seems like you're distracted. Can we talk about how we can fix this? You see the difference? When you do it like that, it invites your spouse to be a part of the solution instead of feeling like they're the problem. I got some homework for you, okay? What I want you to do is find some time. And I know you can find some time. Put down your phone, turn the TV off, whatever you got to do. And what I want you to do is I want you to think of just one time when you felt judged by your spouse, and then I want you to write it down. And then what I want you to do is think of one time when you judged them, right? And then I want you to write that down too. And then I want you to share these moments with each other, okay? But here's the key, right? You first of all, you got to do it when you guys are in a good place, right? But here's the other thing I want you to do. I want you to focus on solutions. Don't focus on blame, okay? You could say something like this, I felt judged when you said that my idea was really dumb. Next time, could we talk about it in a more calm fashion? Now, this is very, very important, okay? The goal in all of this is to create an understanding, not create conflict, okay? So that's why I say you got to do it when you guys are in a good place, all right? So here's my challenge for you this week. Every time you catch yourself about to judge your spouse, I want you to stop, take a breath, and instead of criticizing, why not ask a question or give them a compliment? For example, instead of saying, "Why do you always forget things?" Why don't you try saying stuff like, "Hey, can I help us stay on top of this next time so we don't have the same problem again?" You see, little changes like this can make a huge difference in your marriage. Listen, remember, marriage isn't perfect. It's about growing together. And disrespectful judgments may can seem small, okay? But they can have a big impact on your marriage. But the good news is this: with curiosity, kindness, and intentional actions, you can create a marriage that's full of love and respect. So thanks for watching. Hey, listen, if you think this lesson helped you, why not share it with somebody? Invite them to subscribe as well, because there's a lot of people out there that need this. And don't forget to subscribe for more tools to building a stronger, healthier marriage. And remember, as always, darling, one of us is crazy, and I think it's you. I'll see you next time.